Welcome to my podcast, Cold Narratives. I'm your host, Iceberg Green. About to let y'all hear some of these cold narratives. Check it out. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to talk about the internet and how it allows people to put on a mask, you feel me? And, and live a certain life that's actually not theirs, you feel me? So this episode, man, I'm going in. Okay, so this is Miles Best, and this is from Above the Noise, and this is on PBS. I know a lot of us remember PBS. We grew up to that. But this is his take on the internet and how it could be affecting, your behavior.
Do you ever catch yourself saying something online that you probably wouldn't say in real life? I'm looking at you, internet trolls. The internet really can make people act differently online than they do face-to-face. Researchers call this the online disinhibition effect. You know that little inner voice in the back of your head that tells you something might be a bad idea? Well, the internet can kind of shut that voice up. You might end up saying or doing something mean that you'll regret later, or sharing something that's a little TMI. I just kept tweeting. I'm like, there can only be one. I'm better than you. Get off Twitter. Now, I was the aggressor in the whole situation. I probably wouldn't have done it if I had to see him face to face, but I was online and I felt protected by the internet. I think we've all seen how online conversations can quickly take a turn for the worse. Just look at any time a woman posts anything on social media. There's always somebody commenting about how she looks or how she's doing something wrong.
Okay, so I'm telling y'all, it's real. See, that's why you got a lot of these people chasing clout. And, they get it and they love it on the internet. Their life on the internet is wonderful. I'm talking about it's great. They posting pictures of how, how good it is, how beautiful they are and all this stuff. But on the inside, they're not that beautiful. And when they step outside the internet in the real world, that's when it takes its toll because they don't know how to react to the real world. They're so used to dealing with the internet and responding to the behavior and the narratives on the internet. When you get outside in the real world and people are talking about, hey, this is how, it goes in the real world, you're kind of like stuck. And it sends you right back to that internet to trolling and, releasing all that energy, on the internet.
Let me break it down for you. Back in 2004, psychologist John Suler published a paper outlining this phenomenon. And this paper is kind of a big deal. It's been cited over 3,000 times. That means it's shown up in a bunch of other research. In the paper, there's two types of disinhibition. Toxic disinhibition, where you have a tendency to act meaner than you would in real life, making the internet a hostile place. But there's also benign disinhibition, where people can open up and share more than they normally would, which can create a positive online experience. So why do we act differently online? Well, if you think about it, there's a lot about chatting online that's pretty different than talking in person. And it's these differences that can lead us to do things online that we normally wouldn't do. In the paper, there's about 6 main things about online communication that lower disinhibition. But for this video, we'll focus on the big 3. 1, anonymity. 2, lag time. And 3, lack of nonverbal cues. Okay, first, let's discuss anonymity. A lot of time we're communicating online, we're anonymous, which means other users don't know who we really are. This is especially true on forums or anonymous apps. And this lack of accountability can make us feel free to do or say whatever. We're less worried about real life consequences because no one knows who we are. So you might just be saying stuff all willy-nilly. But on the other hand, you could open up about personal stuff that's bothering you. Next up is lag time. When we're communicating online and on social media, it doesn't always happen in real time. There's often a delay between when we post something and when we get a response. And this lag time can lead us to say more impulsive stuff. We can just post something and bounce and not really worry about the consequences. It's not all the online disinhibition effect that makes us act a certain way online. Other things like your personality and your life experiences definitely influence how you act. Researchers have even found that there are certain online conditions that can provoke people into trolling.
And some of them, some people actually really think the internet got their back. Like if something happened, you gon' let me call the internet, because, I'm in trouble. It don't work like that. What the internet gonna do is talk about you, belittle you, and, make you feel even worse than you already felt. So, the internet, to me, man, it's just my personal opinion. It allows people to fake it, until they pretty much don't make it. You feel me?
But on the flip side, this delay can also give us more time to pause and think about how we respond to something. Finally, let's talk about how there's a lack of nonverbal cues online. So even if you know who someone is online, you can't always read their body language, facial expressions, or tone, which gives you super valuable information on how they may be feeling. Without these cues to respond to, you might not self-censor as much. Like if you're talking to someone face to face and you can read that they're unhappy or bored or indifferent to what you're saying, you might choose to shut up. But online, you don't have those cues, so you'll probably just keep going. Side note, this is exactly why we need a sarcasm font. It's gotten me in trouble way too much. Okay, so all that can help explain why we act differently online. And like I said before, sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's bad. So for better or worse, the internet really can make you act differently than you would face to face.
Okay, so I know everybody seen the situation with old boy with the colorful hair and how he got scraped. And that's just an example of how the internet, don't got your back really like that. Because a lot of the stuff he was doing, on the internet, he wouldn't have said to people in their face, you feel me? It was clout chasing, it allowed him get a platform, and people was catering to that, man, and that gave that boy that ego. So now, he dealt with his bed that he made, you feel me? That dirty ass bed he made. Now he got to lay in it, you feel me? I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to say God bless everyone going through the struggle, and watch out for them cold narratives that the government be trying to push on us, y'all. And to all my black people, I would be nothing without y'all. Thank you all.